All right, let's go to Amanda in Buffalo, New York. What's up, Amanda?
Hi, good morning. How are you, Dr.
I'm
John?
fantastic. How are you?
I'm all right. All right.
Is it cold in Buffalo?
Yes, we're very much ready for some nice summer weather.
Well, good. I'm waving my weather wand, and I hope you get it. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have a question today with dealing with a mother-in-law. We basically, my husband and I, we just don't know how to set boundaries when it comes to helping her understand our comfort level with coming out for visits, as well as dealing with other things that she often kind of throws at us in conversation over the phone.
Okay, tell me some.
So anytime we call her, it's typically we get the, oh, you guys never call me. And yet those calls are always the ones that we sent out. It's always a one-way street. Also, she always complains that we don't come out enough for visits. And then when we say, well, why don't you come out? You know, we have 4 kids. We're kind of busy. We got a lot going on. We'd love for you to come out and visit. She has, all her children are grown. So it's just her and her husband. And she just makes excuses. And when she does come out, she always picks a fight mainly with me and then complains to my husband about it. And when we go out to her house, her one son, my husband's half-brother, lives there as well. And it's just, there's smoking in the home, there's excessive drinking, and there's constant vulgar talking, lots of vulgar, not even just swear words, just very vulgar in front of our young children. And we just don't feel comfortable with it anymore. We don't know how to address it.
Sounds like working with Kelly and James on your last one. Lots of smoking and drinking and just vulgarness. So it seems here on this side of the phone, it seems like a really simple next few steps. What's the hang up? What are you hanging on to? Is your husband unable to have hard conversations? Is it you?
Yep.
What are the challenges?
Yeah, he definitely struggles. He didn't really grow up with her.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's kind of the hiccup, but anytime I bring it up, like, why don't you just say something? It's like, no, I don't really want to say anything. And, when we go out there, it's like, it's not our house, so it's not our place to critique or judge, and we don't try to, but at the same token, we have to protect our family. We're just not quite sure how to make those boundaries known, or more so, I guess, giving my husband the aid he needs to make those boundaries.
Okay. So what your husband needs to make those boundaries is a backbone. He needs to look at his wife, and you'll have little ones?
Yeah, we have 4. The oldest is 13 and the youngest is 3.
Yeah, he needs to look at his 4 kids and say, y'all are worth being safe and being protected and not having your minds melted and not being around dysfunction. And he needs to look at his wife and say, I love you enough to protect, not protect in like a Braveheart kind of way or like a gladiator, but protect like you don't need to put up with that crap. You don't need to put up with someone calling you once a month or you calling them you're doing your duty to be kind. And the whole conversation is where you're lacking and where you're failing and where you're not enough. He needs to get in between you and his mother. And so far he hasn't. So 2 things moving forward. Have you sat down with him and said, I need you to have this conversation? Or is it just this wishy-washy? Okay.
We have, and it's mostly, I don't want to basically ruffle her feathers, not with those words, but more or less, I guess he just doesn't, I guess he needs I don't know exactly, but he needs the help. And I don't know what that means or what that looks like.
It may look like you having the conversation too.
Okay.
And it may be, hey, here's what is going to happen for the holidays. And when you start setting up boundaries, expect people to run as hard as they can, like a battering ram into them to see if they hold.
Okay.
Here's the deal. We're not coming over to your house if there's smoking and drinking at the house. And here, the thing about judgment, I judge my friends all the time. I love them too. And so I think judgment has got a bad rap. I'll tell my friends, that's the stupidest thing. Why did you do that? You're an idiot. And they do the same to me. I've given them permission to judge me, right? And
Mhm.
I have to judge situations all the time for my kids and say, is this a safe one? Is this a nourishing environment? Is this a wise choice to send you to X, Y, or Z? So I'm always judging things. So I think it's fair to look at a group of people who continue to smoke and drink and be super vulgar around your young children and say, I'm not putting my kids in that environment.
Okay.
I still love you. I'm glad that you're human beings and I respect you and great and partridge in a pear tree, but I'm not going to put my kids there. And when they come back with, oh, because you think you're better than us, no, I just don't want my kids around that. And here's the thing. If they want to be around your kids, then they get to choose to quit smoking or drinking and being vulgar around your kids. It's that simple.
Okay.
And the switch for your family needs to be this. Mom is choosing to not be in relationship with us. And that hurts and that stinks. Right now, if your husband has spent some time estranged from his mom, he's trying to prop up a fantasy that somehow the disconnection was his fault last time, and he wants to make sure it's not his fault this time. And the reality is he's got a crummy mom.
Mm-hmm.
A very unplugged, unengaged, I don't say crummy, that's not cool. A unplugged, disengaged, struggling with her own set of struggles mother.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She left when he was a young boy, so.
And there's been a young boy inside of him wondering what he did wrong for a long time, and I got her back, and he's not about to be the person who puts the gap in that relationship, even if it hurts his kids, and even if it causes separation with his wife.
That makes sense.
And it's hard, and it's the next right move. Or just quit calling. That's the other, just stop calling.
Okay. Well, we've done that where we've gone some time without talking, and then she calls him, what did I do wrong? What did I make you mad? And it's just that, that shaming and that guilt.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And then he could say, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna give that type of, my friend Dave would say that sometimes parents can be a travel agent for guilt trips. Like, I'm not gonna carry that brick for you. That, and now I suck as your kid, or now I'm a bad, like, no, I'm not going to carry that for you. You can hand it to me. I'm not going to hold it. That's yours to carry if you want to carry that around. If she's somebody who can hear, then he's like, yeah, man, phones work both ways. Highways do too. And by the way, when you're in our house, there is no smoking inside. There's no smoking outside if you don't want it. You guys may have to put the alcohol away. Even if you have wine and good bourbon up in the cabinet when you're mother-in-law and her husband are in town, you put the alcohol away because you're going to live by example. And if somebody says something in front of your kid, and I've done this with family members, when they're telling a joke or saying something, I've stopped them and said, no, stop. Not in this house, and especially not in front of my children. And it's been uncomfortable, and it stopped. And then they got a choice to make. Do I want to be in relationship with a guy who doesn't want me saying those type of jokes around his kids?
Okay.
Does that make sense? And I know I'm making it sound very light, and it's taken me a decade to get where I'm at now, so it's not easy. But it's really, really important. And here's some small potatoes. My parents have a small house where they live. They live in kind of a patio home. And so when we go, we get a hotel. And it's better for all of us. We all get sleep. They all get sleep. And sometimes my kids will spend the night in their guest room. But it's just better for everybody. And then they have their evenings, and then we've got, so it works for our family. And it wasn't weird when we said, hey, this is how we're going to do this. And they were great about it. And so sometimes it takes that mutual maturity on both sides. But hey, here's going to be the best thing for our family. We're not going to get there till midnight, so we're going to go to a hotel, and we're going to stay here. And it's got a pool here so we can burn off some energy. And so it just works for our family. You know what I'm saying? So we've just set up some boundaries along the way. And I'm just grateful that my parents and my in-laws are great at having those conversations. But at the end of the day, your husband has to say, my kids and my wife are worth more than the fantasy of me trying to prop up a mother who abandoned me once and I'm worried is going to abandon me again. And that's hard. No question about it, hard. I'd love to see y'all get together and plan, hey, what do we want the holidays to look like? What do we want our lives to look like? And then we're going to backfill that with the relationships that we have and those that we're going to have to marginalize. And if somebody's not respecting your vulgarity wishes, your drugs and alcohol, and whatever world you all have constructed for yourselves, then it's up to you to put up boundaries and say that relationship's not going to be a part of our life anymore. And that's hard. And I'll say it again. And that's really hard. And there's freedom on the other side of that conversation, though.